All right. Welcome back to the Dirty Pocket. And we are finally there, man. NFL season week 1. Join me in welcoming my partner in crime, the scout, Daniel Kelly. How are we, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you, Stacy. Here we are. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. It's NFL season is here. Kickoff is less than 24 hours away. I mean, we finally made it through a summer, weeks on, weeks off. The pocket got dirty. It got filthy. And we took a little time away, took some vacations. But now it's time to talk NFL football. And here we are at week 1. We'll talk about some other fun stuff towards the end of the show that you've been working on. And we'll get into that. But before we start, this is our last time with before the season begins. What are we drinking this week?
Well, I tell you what, it's actually it's a little bit seasonal. It's a little bit subliminal. It's a little bit. Yeah, this is
deep.
Yeah, it's really philosophical tonight, really. But we're going with one of my favorite drinks down here in Key West, Florida. We're going with the Milo's lemonade.
I know those guys well.
Yeah, we're going with this. Do you?
Yeah. I know them as a tea kind. They can do a tea too, right?
Yeah, really good sweet tea. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I'm going with the lemonade. Now, there's a couple reasons for the lemonade.
Wow. Are we going to talk about some lemons? Is that what's coming?
Well, first of all, it's the end of summer because we're moving into week 1, like we talked about. So we're from here on out until at least the end of October, everything's going to be pumpkin spice across the boards, right? So we got a little bit more lemonade in. But really, when you take a look at my hat and you take a look at the, wearing a Jimmy Garoppolo jersey here. And now check this out, right? You know where I'm going with this, right? Okay.
We got 30 minutes on this.
Here we go. Okay. Ready? Here we go. Okay. When it's week 1 in the regular season and you're the San Francisco 49ers and you're starting a lemon at quarterback named Trey Lance, reach for some Milo's lemonade and get Jimmy G in there as fast as humanly possible.
Oh, my God. All right. We promise, folks, that's the only reference to the 49er quarterback room on this week's show. But the scout's going to get it in. He's gotten it in. It is the strangest thing. Trey Lance is apparently a little grumpy about it. Imagine that. That's such a hot mess, and I can't wait as a Rams fan. I can't wait. I hope it's just a soap opera.
Well, I've spent the entire summer in Twitter's 49ers platform, and I'm just waiting because everybody kept telling me Jimmy Garoppolo's gone. He's gone. Guess what? He's not gone, and there he is, and he's ready to take over because guess what, folks? The 49ers keeping Jimmy Garoppolo is an absolute admission by John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan that they made a boo-boo. Like I said.
Oh, man. What a mess. Well, there's no denying I know you have a lot of people who hate your guts. Welcome to Twitter. I'm sure they're not apologizing right now. And look, say what you will about the scout. He was right. So stay tuned. As a Rams fan, I'm kind of like, eh. So let's talk about the season. I mean, we are at week 1, and it just so happens that the world champion Los Angeles Rams are kicking off the season this year against the Buffalo Bills. So I wanted to spend some time breaking down 2 or 3 games.
Not that game.
God, it's terrible, isn't it? It's just terrible. Hey, let's be straight. As you look at the week 1 schedule, this is a marquee matchup. I mean, there's a lot of people that believe this is the Super Bowl matchup. Bills-Rams.
Madden?
I've never even heard of Madden. What's that? God, how are they still making that game? Whole nother conversation. But I'll tell you what, we've got a big game tomorrow night. There's a lot of people that believe that is a Super Bowl preview. The Chiefs found a way to beat the Bills in one of the most insane games of last season in the playoffs. And I'll tell you what, here we are. So let's talk about it. Oh, I want to welcome in MTO, who is as loyal as it gets. You are correct, MTO. It's been a couple weeks, vacations, schools, crazy lifestyles for these NFL hosts. and it is good to be back. I'm glad that you are back as well, my friend. And yes, the Commanders are going to be a hot, steaming pile of disaster in 2022. I tell you what, I want to say something here since MTO opened this door. I called it. I called it in that draft. I said Chase Young would be overrated and be a bust. And I'll tell you what, he's got this season to prove me wrong.
Well, I think he's a bust already. I mean, if you look at, like I've talked about on previous shows, everybody talks about, nice call on your behalf too, Stacy, because when you look, okay, people say, okay, the ACL, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I understand that with all due respect to his injury. But when you look at the 9 games prior, I believe it was 9 games, just off the top of my head, and there was 1.5 sacks and 13 tackles or something. He just washed through the first 9 games. He looked terrible, and I don't see much happening there whatsoever. And you're right, MTO. It's great to see you back in the show with us. And I think that is going to be a mess. And Sonny Jurgensen getting his jersey retired with the Commanders, that's really, 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 really bizarre.
Yeah, that's I mean, we're not going to spend the show on this because we know how you feel. I feel the same way. That's just a very strange conversation. MTO, come on, go easy on my man. He didn't do anything wrong. Didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, yeah.
What do you guys hate? You haters out there.
Yeah,
you haters out there.
Yeah, I tell you what, MTO, I agree with you, and it's funny. It's funny. I know a guy in Cleveland that did something like that, and and he got suspended.
Not the defensive player of the year 3 times in a row. I did it to a guy without a helmet. It was a sanctioned game. Come on now. And when you're godlike and you wear number 99 in Los Angeles, you get away with a little bit more. Okay, I digress. MTO with some rapid fire comments. We are going to talk football. We're trying to make the dirty pocket stick within that 30-minute time frame because look. Me and the Scout both have adult ADHD, so we assume that everybody else out there does too. So we're going to try to shorten this thing up, go rapid fire, football uncensored in 2022, 2023. Some other projects we'll talk about, but let's just start there. Tomorrow night, the Rams, Bills happens to be a team that I love and happens to be the world champion. What do you see in this game, Scout? I mean, there are a lot of people already giving Josh Allen the MVP award. The Rams are dogs in this game. They're underdogs. Everybody's picking the Bills to win this thing. What do you see on Thursday Night Football? By the way, might I add that one of the greatest artists of our time, Ozzy Osbourne, is apparently going to sing a song. What? I mean, what?
Hey,
what is going on?
The NFL goes out with a bang and it comes in with a bang. I mean, that's how it starts. After the Super Bowl, we go right into this, and it should be a promise to be a really good game. For those who are anointing Josh Allen, ahead of time, hey, that is why they play the games and don't play them on paper. Obviously, last season was a season full of surprises all the time. We talked about on every show. And I don't know, this is going to be a real interesting and telling game to set the tone for these two franchises. I really think so. And I'm curious. I think for me personally, I think the thing that I'm really intrigued to see is how the Buffalo Bills come out and how they look without Brian Daboll as their offensive coordinator. Now, of course, the head coach of the New York Football Giants. I'm very curious to see, what the synergy's like with the new coordinator between Josh Allen and the new coordinator, how that's going to play out. Daboll was extremely unpredictable in his play calling. I love Brian Daboll. I recommended Brian Daboll to Bruce Allen to be the next coach of the Washington Redskins back when the Redskins, when I interviewed there in 2019. I think that he's going to be a great coach for the Giants. I'm just curious to see how he's going to be, how that Buffalo dynamic is going to work without him. And, of course, the Rams, they're coming into this. There's always this pressure that's spoken and unspoken about repeating, how are they going to come out? How are they going to look? And, it's just going to be interesting to see both teams kind of just kick the rust off, and basically get into the flow of the regular season. I mean, you're a Rams guy. You've been a Rams guy your whole life. I mean, what do you see happening? I mean, I talked a little bit about Buffalo. What do you see happening with the Rams, Stacey?
It's going to be an interesting matchup. MTO brings up the fact that old Von Miller's going to be over there licking his chops now that Andrew Whitworth is not at left tackle, and we got Joseph Noteboom. I think that is a matchup to watch, MTO. I'll tell you, I think this is good. This will come a lot down to the offensive line. These teams, I think these are two really good football teams, if I'm being honest. I think you brought up a great point. Losing your offensive mind for Josh Allen is going to be interesting. To watch that. I think on the defensive side of the ball for Buffalo, they're down. Their top corner isn't playing tomorrow night, Tre'Davious. So I think you could look for Cooper Kupp or dark horse Allen Robinson to have a big night. And I think that the Rams will come out wanting to run the ball. And I think they will try real hard to establish the running game. Where they go from there is what happened next. I look for Allen Robinson and Tyler Higbee at tight end to have big nights tomorrow night, because Von Miller will be tipping everybody off in the defensive side of the ball to what the Rams might be doing. And I'm sure Sean McVay has got some stuff to counter that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, what good football teams. That AFC is loaded. At the end of the day, quick prediction before we move on to another game. I think that this game will start out a little tight. Both teams will start out a little slow. I think the Rams will win this thing, and I think they'll win it like 28-21. I think that's probably a pretty good game, but I'm going to pick the Rams to win this thing. I think people are not showing a lot of respect, and it's not just my bias. It's really weird how everybody across the NFL's got the Buccaneers and the Packers. Everybody's better than the Rams. It's kind of like, what? It's very strange. What say you on the final score there?
Well, before I give a final score, I think, I'm also going to be keeping a real close eye on Bill's corner, Kier Elam, who I really liked coming out of the draft this year. I mean, he's going to go right into the fire. He's going to get indoctrinated into the NFL. He's going to be the featured corner tomorrow night with that, the situation. And I really liked him a lot. I gave him a big grade in the first round from Florida. I think I just get a gut feeling that your Rams are going to win pretty decisively. I think Buffalo is going to look much more discombobulated than what people are thinking they're going to look like. I mean, I just kind of have a feeling they're going to look like a mess. And I don't know why I feel that way, but that's my gut. I see like a 35-13. I see a blowout for you guys.
Wow.
I see you guys going big, and I think it's really going to be the talk of the town, and people are going to be really upset by how bad Buffalo looks tomorrow night.
That's interesting you say that, Scout. I saw some national pundits, I forget who it was earlier today, saying the same thing. They think Stafford goes off for 4 or 5 touchdowns. I'm like, wow.
I didn't even see that. That's just kind of a gut feeling I have about it. I think this thing with Brian Daboll, I don't think it's getting played up to the magnitude it's going to be. And there's a lot to be said for these relationships, this chemistry between players and coaches and teams. And once you start tinkering with that, it's a whole different dynamic. And Brian Daboll is really one of the best offensive minds this game has seen over the last 5 years or so. And losing this kind of an offensive mind, he's kind of the mastermind, kind of the puppet master there in Buffalo. I really think it's going to cause Buffalo problems.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I think my heart leans your way too. Very good point, MTO. The Rams definitely do have some depth, but God, I mean, we're forgetting they added Bobby Wagner. I mean, it's just the Rams are going to come out with something to prove this year, and it's not just my bias talking. I know everyone's laughing, but I'm being serious. I think there's going to be something to be said here. But we could talk for 15 more minutes on that, and we won't because they're the world champs, and it's time to step up and repeat, run it back. Scout and MTO, you will love this conversation. Let's talk Baltimore Ravens, New York Jets. Lamar Jackson versus, just found out today, Joe Flacco. and a team with no tackles.
I've been talking about this for months. I've been pleading for months not to start Joe Flacco. It's like a statue in the pocket. Flacco has just got a really super slow release. The game looks like it passed him by about 2017. Oh, wait, that's like the last time he played. He has not won a game for the Jets in the 7 attempts he's been in the game since he's been there for a couple of years. He's like 0-7 in the games he's played in. Just a really bad move. The Jets would have been a lot better off with Mike White. They would have been a lot better off with Chris Streveler, who had a dynamite preseason. Robert Salas at Streveler had probably the best quarterback of any quarterback in the preseason in NFL history. They don't play him. He's exciting. He can. The crowd loved him. They sat in the rain. They waited for him, and you talked about MTO. You're talking about Dwayne Brown. I'm not a fan of his. I gave him a C- last year for Seattle before they signed him. I mean, if you're still on the street, if you're still on sign when training camp starts, I don't want to hear about the 5 Pro Bowls from anybody out there. This guy's done, okay? He's just about done. He doesn't have the lateral foot speed. He doesn't have the recovery speed. He was just a token right in for the Pro Bowl last year in my mind. George Fant, we know what he was in 2020 on the right side. He's much better on the left side. Not that he's great, but he's much better on the left side than he is the right side. He's not 100%. It's and how good you're asking what Max Mitchell is. Max Mitchell, I graded him out also as a C- grade as a pass protector. Joe Douglas way overvalued him in the 4th round, in my opinion. Connor McDermott is another guy that doesn't stand a chance on the outside. It's basically going to be, one Mississippi throw the ball. They're going to have a lot of short passes in this game. I get the feeling with what they're going to do. Now, granted, they do have a lot better yak potential this year on the short passes. I'm talking about Garrett Wilson. It's a lot better, on the yak, from Ohio State. He was my wide receiver 1. Sorry, I didn't want to sneeze. And then also, too, I just wrote a nice article in SI Jets for Tyler Conklin, who I feel was a great free agent signing by the Jets at tight end for the Minnesota Vikings. Had a big breakout year for them last year. Now he's coming in as a tight end with Umaza, the other tight end from Cincinnati. Then they got Rucker too in the draft. So they have some good short options. Breece Hall, the running back, Carter, the other back. They got good, short. And that's what it's going to be for the Jets. It's going to be one Mississippi throw, because otherwise it's going to be a disaster. And this is what I was pounding on the table for all off season on the show, is do something, Joe Douglas, with those offensive tackles. He did next to nothing. He waited to the last second, and now he's going to reap the reward of that.
Brutal. Okay, so the Jets are a hot mess, and MTO, sorry, man. I'm rooting for the Jets. I actually believe Zach Wilson can develop. I'll tell you, the scouts' points. Yeah, I know you don't. The scouts' points have been great.
I don't think he should play.
And he's not. And he's not going to, obviously, in week 1, according to Salah.
I don't think he should play all season. I think that
knee
is much more ginger than what people are talking about.
Could be.
And thanks, MTO, by the way, on the Conklin piece. The mention on that. It's as everybody knows, I'm probably one of the toughest graders, if not the toughest grader in America. These guys, and when I get excited, I like somebody. The guy's generally really good, and Conklin has that look. Like I said in my article, I would not be one bit surprised if he's the leading receiver in the Jets this season.
Fascinating. So let's go to the other side of the ball, the opponent, Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson still trying to negotiate a ridiculous deal. We now see Russell Wilson. We see Kyler Murray. These guys getting $250+ million contracts with
where's our money?
It's just insane. Yeah, where's ours? Hey guys, sponsor the show. We'll say nice things. I'll tell you what. What do you think about Lamar Jackson in this game? What do you think about him? I mean, he's starting a make or break season. I think he's insane for not having an agent and getting this thing locked up, but he's trying to do it himself.
Right. I don't, as far as the, representing himself and all that, it's a very interesting situation. I was really surprised, because I've never evaluated, Lamar Jackson before this last week for SI Jets. I mean, I've seen him, but seeing somebody play in a sports bar, having some buffalo wings and some sauce over my face, and sitting down and evaluating a player is two different things. And when I unpacked Lamar Jackson last season, it was really surprising to me just how erratic his ball placement is downfield, high, low, all over the place, overthrown, and like I said in my article, see, everybody thinks, blitz him. Listen, don't blitz him at all. Rush four if you're the Jets, and drop everyone else back. Make him beat you as a traditional quarterback. When you rush him and you blitz him, he thrives in chaos. He thrives moving around, running around. He's a great runner. He's got good speed. He's been their leading rusher, which I found surprising too. I went back and looked at the last 2-3 years. He's been the leading rusher too, on top of it, on the top of the passing side of it. Don't let him run, but just and play a spy. You remember back in the day when Joe Gibbs with Richie Pettibone, and you remember this, Stacy?
Oh yeah,
right. When Richie Pettibone, whenever the Redskins be playing like the Eagles with Randall Cunningham, or you'd be playing like against John Elway, he'd always have Monty Coleman, that linebacker, in there, spy, and they'd always shut down these running quarterbacks. That's what the Jets need to try to do, is play a spy system with maybe C.J. Mosley, and just rush the four and drop everyone else back, and have him try to beat you by throwing the ball. I'm not. And let's face it, Lamar Jackson, he finished, I think, number 25 last year in passing. Obviously, he missed 4 games or whatnot with the injury, but he finished number 22 in 2019 and 20 as well. This is not a guy that's ripping up the league through the air, and so it's a really tough decision for Baltimore. Obviously, he's a fan favorite. You sign him. But these quarterbacks getting this kind of money, these guys aren't worth that kind of money. They're really not. They're not at all. I mean, Kyler Murray with his 23-1 record down in Arizona. Russell Wilson's at the twilight of his career. Let's face it. Now people are coming out and saying maybe it really was that defense in Seattle that did it for him, and Russell was just kind of along for the ride. And but you know what I mean? But the kind of money you're talking about, before these guys have not proven anything yet. Now, I believe that Jackson will get the money he wants because Baltimore is really dependent on him. But I tell you what, the Jets, if they play this right and they play a coverage scheme in this one, not a cover 3 like Salah likes to run all the time. This 4-3 cover 3 deal. But if they just sit back in coverages, and I mean, that's where Joe Douglas put his money this offseason, was in that secondary. That's where he put his focus. He put his focus on the tight ends, and he put his focus on the secondary. And that's what he's going to need to do, is he's going to need to test that secondary, back there, and with Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed and Whitehead and all these guys that he brought in, and he's going to have to see how that performs against Jackson. I like the Jets' chances in this game if they play their cards right. Now, if they come out there and start rushing 6, 7, 8, trying to do all this stuff, Jackson's going to eat them alive.
Okay. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I wouldn't give Jackson that contract at all. No way, no how, but I know they will. And I like the kid. I think he's a great kid. It's not personal. I'm sorry. I just don't see him as a guy that's going to put together a dynasty or a Super Bowl run. I don't think he's as good a passer as people just consistently want to talk about.
He's not.
And I just think they will give him a contract because he sells tickets. And who else do you have in Baltimore? Who? I mean, Lamar Jackson's dynamic. You can argue a lot of things. Okay, we got to move on. Only got 5-6 minutes left in the dirty pocket this week, so I want to throw some rapid fire at you, Scout. We'll be looking for anything at MTO where time allows too. Let me throw another one.
Good call, by the way, on the Bill Polian comment.
Yeah, very good call, MTO. So, okay, let's go. Patriots Dolphins. You got maybe 2 minutes to talk about this one. This is an interesting matchup. Tua makes his debut with the Cheetah, with Jalen Waddle, with Chase Edmonds. Here we go against Bill Belichick with Matt Patricia calling the offense. And Mac Jones has been struggling. What do you got? Give me 30 to to 50 seconds, Scout.
Well, what I have the Miami Dolphins as my Super Bowl team this year from the AFC. I'm coming in hot. I'm coming in hot right off the bat.
Off the edge.
I think we're going to see a very dynamic Miami team against New England. I think they're going to give them everything they have that they can handle. I think Cheetah's going to make his presence felt on the outside. I like Tua a lot. I'm a big Mac Jones fan. Mac Jones was my QB2 in 2021 coming out. I like him a lot. That's another situation. We talked about the Brian Dabo being gone with the Buffalo Bills. Now, Belichick's protege, Josh McDaniels, is in Las Vegas. So that's another situation where how does this new, or really void to Josh McDaniels, who was really – Josh Daniels was to Bill Belichick what Bill Belichick was to Bill Parcells. And so now that he's gone, it's going to be very interesting to see. But I like Miami in this game.
Okay, very good. I do too. I'm going with Miami in this one. I think it'll be a 24-10, something like that. I think Miami's going to put on a little bit of a show. Cheetah will break loose at least once. I think Jalen Waddle is a secret under the radar explosive player.
I love him. I loved him coming out in 2021.
Me too. Okay, I'm going to throw another one at you here in our rapid fire to close out the show. This game, I'm sorry, folks, I'm watching this game. I can't wait, actually. It's going to be probably a morning game. The Carolina Panthers and the return of Baker Mayfield with the Cleveland Browns. No Deshaun Watson. We don't have time for that soap opera. But does Baker get revenge?
Yes.
Oh. MTO, what say you? I hope so. Look, I'm rooting for Baker. He's cocky. He's arrogant. He's shorter. He's got a chip on his shoulder. I'm sorry, man. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him. I agree with you, MTO. They're in deep trouble. So Baker making – oh, my God. Are we going to see the old like he did with Hugh Jackson where he walks over to the opposing team sideline and just gives them a few head nods? Ooh.
Yeah.
Going to be a game, Scout.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be – yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here is another one I want to throw at you. I think I know the obvious answer to close out the show. We just can't cover every game. Jaguars, Commanders. Urban Meyer is gone. Your boy Trevor Lawrence, your favorite quarterback in the NFL, is still there. He's still there. And you've got him.
Jeff George 2.0,
that's I tell you. I agree with that. We're going to see if Doug Peterson can get the best of him. But here come your Commanders, man. I have Carson Wentz playing better this year than other people do. But what say you in this game?
Washington wins in a very ugly game.
Oh.
Yeah, Washington pulls it out. It'll be like a 14-12. It'll be something that's just maybe 15-12, something real low scoring, a slugfest, a lot of field goals, sloppy. Lawrence will have his 2-3 picks to open up the season. Wentz will do his thing. But yeah, I just Jacksonville just doesn't have it, have their act together. Washington will find a way to win this one.
Boy, they spent a ton of money on free agents, though. They've tried to bring in everybody and Evan Ingram. I mean, they've tried to bring in everybody to help Lawrence. So this is going to be interesting. I tend to agree. I'm starting to already get a ache in my stomach for Terry McLaurin. There's reports out of camp that Antonio Gibson is not going to be the featured running back with McKissick getting that. Washington, I still want to call them the Redskins.
Me too.
This is going to be something, man. This is going to be something to see on Sunday. Okay, any other real quick and close, any other game or anything else we should be watching for Sunday? Parting shots.
I think the Dallas-Tampa Bay game is going to be another real interesting one with all the drama going on. We touched on a couple of weeks ago about Tom Brady. We knew there was something else going on there than just a 2-week vacation and training camp. Now the truth comes out that there's problems at home. How is that going to work out and play in his psyche? And then I'm curious about Dallas. I'm really curious to see, now with Cooper gone in Cleveland and, Gallup, maybe he's going to play, maybe he's not, Jalen Tolbert, the new rookie, who I like, but there's not a lot of time to work chemistry with Dak Prescott, CD Lamb, obviously a CD Lamb, but I just really am kind of curious to see how Dallas does offensively, with all the changes they've made and in the offseason losses and stuff. And I'm very curious to see how Tampa Bay looks, of course, with the new coach and the situation going on inside Brady's head and how he navigates this, because he's always been very strong mentally. But I know from experience that when things aren't right at home, that has more potential to play in somebody's head than anything else.
Yep. When things aren't good, when mama isn't happy, there's going to be problems. And even for Tom Brady, our parting shots, it's like we gelled this week, but my parting shot is I don't think the Bucs are going to be as good as people think. And I do think, he's still Tom Brady. I'm never going to count him out because he's proven me wrong a million times. But this idea, like the NFL, a top 100, he was the number one player in the league. Give me a break. He's not even the top quarterback in the league. It's absolutely ridiculous at this point, in my opinion. But I think my parting shots this week that's an interesting game. I think the Cowboys and Bucs, both teams may be reeling sooner than later. Both of those teams look like they're in trouble. Okay, MTO with a parting shot. Vikings upset the Packers, and Kirk Cousins continues to rip off everybody in sight. Look, I have nothing but respect for Kirk Cousins. I picture him and his wife sitting on the couch at night just looking at each other like that scene from Goodfellas where everybody's laughing. Come on, Kirk Cousins. If you can't play with Kevin O'Connell as your coach, who's going to bring that McVay offense, and you can't find Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook as your running back, dude, if you can't make any noise now when the Packers, Aaron Rodgers has himself a lunch pail and a bunch of guys no one's heard of, that's it, man. This is it. MTO, good call. Good call. Well, folks, that's it on the Dirty Pocket this week. I wanted to end on a super fun note, an exciting note, and that is that the Scout, who obviously has been doing a lot of work with Sports Illustrated in the past, as well as other media outlets and online venues, has officially launched FirstRoundMock.com with the Scout, Daniel Kelly, where he is breaking down some of college football's greatest players. He's pushing us towards that NFL draft already. Go check out FirstRoundMock.com. Congratulations, my friend.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for all your encouragement, Stacy. And thank you, MTO. Believe the hype. It started. Yeah, absolutely. The premise of the website is a former NFL scout bringing you the top 32. And so the real focus is on those elite blue chip, those dynamic first round picks. And I've started by unpacking I'm already 9 quarterbacks in, if you want to take a look at the site and see where I'm at with these quarterbacks and that. But, really the goal is to become the number one voice in America for the NFL draft and to be able to really and the whole thing is built on game film study. No politics at First Round Mock. It's all predicated and based on the game film.
All right. Thank you. And I'll tell you what, looking forward to reading that myself. Go check out his videos. They are starting to launch, folks. That's it from the Dirty Pocket this week. From myself, the Scout, and the always loyal MTO, I want to say enjoy kickoff, gentlemen. I cannot wait for this season. I cannot wait to repeat as Super Bowl champion in Los Angeles. Nonetheless, it is going to be a kick-ass great time with you guys as we break this down weekly in the Dirty Pocket. We will see you all next week. Be well out there.
Be well. Put the ball in the tee. Let's go.
Let's go.